Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rock the Mic podcast, all hip hop all the time. I know it's been a minute since we've been here, but life gets in the way. But I promise we'll be consistent from here on out. We'll be back better than ever. So here we are, and today I am joined by my good friend. I know him as Banjo, but ladies and gentlemen, give it up for 01forward. What's going on, man?
I'm great today. Things are great. Life has been terrible. No, I'm joking. But no, this has been great, man. And yes, Banjo's my nickname, but 01forward is my artist name. So
Yeah, I'll. So if you guys get confused during the episode, I might call him Banjo, might call him 01forward, but we go way back. In the Instagram rap community is a group chat. Same thing with Tim Get the Money from last episode. We're all in the same chat, so me and Banjo go way back. Or 01forward. I'm gonna try to either call you one or the other because I don't want to confuse everybody. Thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate you being here.
of course, man, you gotta support, gotta project. So
Of
yeah, I
course.
see you with the Pusher shirt. Go ahead, show the Pusher shirt, bro.
Check this out, boys.
Pusher shirt.
Push is here, full effect. We do have the Drake poster right here. That's a little. We were just talking about that before the recording. Not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it. That's for another time.
Didn't happen. Anybody else, it
didn't happen. And hey, show him the Aaliyah shirt.
Oh, you already know the Aaliyah shirt, bro. Came with the I would show it back. I ain't gonna do all that, but it comes with the CD box set for the 1 in a Million album. So yeah,
great. Rest in peace, sweet baby Aaliyah.
Yeah,
of course. Now, you know what? Let's just jump right into it. When did you decide to start making music?
Now, interestingly enough, not really interesting, but I joined the band when I was about 12. And I picked up an instrument, it was just the trumpet. Now I'm 20 now, so about 6 years after I picked up the trumpet, or about 5 years actually, back in 2018, specifically November 13 of that year, I started making beats. That was when I first made my first beat. So it just kind of came. It kind of just came as like me liking music. I always liked music. That's why I ended up going and joining the band and everything like that. And that taught me like the basics of not really music theory, but how to like read music, how to understand how a song is structured. But it was kind of arbitrary at that point because I didn't really know how those things came together. You're a kid, you don't really get it. But it ended up helping me later on in life. So when I started making the beats, they were like this horrible mess of things, specifically the first few ones. But I guess pretty much just the liking that I had towards it was the thing that started me liking it. So yeah.
And you said you made your first beat on November 13th?
Yeah, November 13th, 2018 was the first time I made a beat. It was kind of like this horror sample. I don't know why I did that for my first beat. It was like 6 minutes long. It was a fucking mess. I never released it, obviously. It was just like a test to try and see how to do things. It was all loops on like BandLab or something like that I probably pulled from there. And then from that point, I was just like, how can I make this not trash? So that's what I set out to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, November 13th, that's my mom's birthday. So it was a night. Happy birthday, Mom. Happy early birthday. Or late birthday. But shout out 01forward for the beat for Mom's birthday. So what is your recording process like? Do you make your beats before you start writing to them? Because I know sometimes we'll talk about it a little bit later, but you're not always rapping on your projects. Usually it's like a beat tape, or then you'll have some verses here and there. But just on any given song, do you make the beat first, or do you write to get the concept of what, not only for the verse, but concept for like what you want the beat to sound like? So how does that, I always ask everybody this because everyone has a different approach, but I want to know what your approach to it is.
Okay, well, beats are more like a passing thought that I get. Like I'll literally I'll be with my friends, like drinking something or like talking or making or like watching something like that, and then I'll just randomly come up with the idea. It'll be a simple, like, I think this drum pattern, I think this sample would sound good if I use it for something. And then just whatever I'm doing, if I'm not doing anything urgent, I stop what I'm doing, immediately go to the beats. And that's usually how the beats are made. For the process of like adding a verse or anything like that, I feel like rapping is more, for me at least, the poetry behind it. That's what I care about. I don't really care too much about flow, positioning, hooks, but I'll explain that a little bit later. But for the main part, it's just poetry. So I come from a I guess from like how it's structured as a song, like how do I record the process of it? It always starts usually with the beat. I don't really usually write first if I am writing at all. And like you said, I mainly just do beats for the most part. Like I rap a lot as well, but for the most part, I'm mainly doing beats. So yeah, pretty much just start with the beats always, and then go
Okay.
from there. Yeah.
And okay, so I had a question that was a little later down the line. Well, later in the line. It was literally the question after this one, but I feel like it would sound, we were just talking about producing and rapping. So I didn't want to write this down because I didn't know if it would like sound weird, but like I always saw you as like a producer first and like a rapper second. Like I feel like you're more of a producer than you are a rapper, which I
Oh
think
yeah,
you would agree.
definitely. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But you do both. So what I wanted to ask was, do you prefer, I think you kind of answered it, but do you prefer rapping over producing or producing over rapping? And if so, which one? Why?
Yeah, definitely producing.
Yeah.
I only started rapping because back in 2018, when I started to rap, about a year goes by. I never rapped before on a beat or anything like that. You know, it's sometime around the same time, 2019, you know, November of that year. I was trying to get people to like, you know, rap on my beats and everything like that. And they would just tell me to say, it's just too hard to rap on. It's too much going on. I don't know what to rap about when I hear these beats. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it myself.
All
So
right.
I literally that's what started the rapping. Writing was a different story. I've always been a poet. I've been writing poetry for since I was like fucking 9 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like real young. I've been writing poetry. So I just kind of transformed my poems into my raps is really kind of what I
Okay.
decided on doing. So yeah, definitely a producer first. I think with 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 rapping, it's more of it started as a necessity because I kind of wanted people to rap on my beats, no one would. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll try to do it
Like a
myself.
Thanos thing, like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Right, literally. And that's actually how it was. And I was like, you know what? Just I think it's more like rapping is cool to me. I love the art of rap. Like, it's one of my favorite art forms.
Mm.
It's definitely one of my favorite art forms in terms of musical approaches. So I can't say anything wrong with rapping. Production is just the thing that, firstly, I started on. I feel most comfortable with, and I feel like I excel at the best. So that's why.
So it's just like a personal preference kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Okay. Um, so is music something you can see yourself doing for like your career, like a full-time gig? Like, is that something ideally you'd like to do or something you could see yourself doing?
Not actually, to be fair.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I know most people think like music is just a lot of their end goals in life. I have a lot of avenues, things that I like to do, and
Mhm.
that's not to say that you can't do that and have music as a full time. But for me, I don't see it as like the full time gig because I don't really care for the money behind music. I just care about the art behind it. So I won't even try to put myself in a position to get a
That's a
career off of
fact.
it. Will I sign to a certain type of label if I ever got the answer for it? Probably, but it would have to be something like a stone's throw, where it's more like you're not really in a distribution label
Mhm.
kind of deal. It's more like a plateau in a way. Those types of things, I would do that, where it's more like you do your own thing still, and you're just attached to it and for, like I said, a plateau. But music as a full time thing, like I don't even do shows. I don't do like the craziest, or not even the craziest, but the most I've stepped into like making money for music would be like I did some tapes with my boy Riley. He decided to make some cassette tapes with a beat tape I did called Black Journal, and
Mhm.
that was that. But music as a career, not really, only because I like education more. Like I know that sounds corny, but like literally, I like to learn, and then just use that learning for certain things. So like if I'm helping somebody, my main goal right now is like going through school and finishing that. And music is my love of life. That's the thing that keeps me up. But I wouldn't try and force that to be a career, but really set my goal to be that.
So we're gonna see 01forward the teacher instead of the musician.
Possibly, no.
You
You never know, man.
never know. Never know what life's gonna throw at you.
That's facts.
Um, bro, you're too good at this interview thing. This is your first interview, and you're answering questions I've got lined up like way farther down. Um, this one, I'm not really sure how we're gonna approach this one because I feel like the next two questions you've kind of answered in some kind of ways, but I will ask this one anyway.
Okay.
How would you say making a beat kind of differs from writing a verse? Like, obviously I say in the question, do you put more time into one than the other? And that kind of obviously you obviously produce more than you write and that kind of thing, any poetry, that kind of thing. But producer first. But I will say, I will ask, how do your mindset, is it different with making a beat than writing? That's what I'll ask.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to producing and beat making, I typically come with, I'm a sample artist for the most part. I obviously have a lot of beats where I don't sample, but for the most part, I like sampling. It makes music feel a lot more raw, more real, which is another reason why I won't really try and make it a career, because the sampling laws in America, at least, are they're messed. So I don't really want to deal with that at all. If you're at a certain level, nobody really bothers you. Like, even for example, Knowledge, he samples whatever he wants. No one bothers him with those things. So maybe obviously I don't know everything that goes on in his life. Like, I don't know how many lawsuits he might have gotten, but he definitely has been in that position where he doesn't have to worry about that because he's not at a certain level. And that's kind of where I would be, or want to be, is like, kind of have some type of recognition, not really worry too much about sampling laws and bullshit like that coming into your way. But yeah, with production, I would literally just be listening to songs. I listen to music pretty much all day. So I'll be listening to a song. I'm like, this would be crazy. Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be like, oh, that'd be crazy as a sample. So let me try and flip that. Or somebody like Matt, he's a big person to that. He'll send me a song. He'd be like, bro, sample this. Or even the boy Isaac from Free Try as well. He'd be like, yo, I got these songs you want to sample. We bounce back off each other. So that's how we get it. When it comes to drumming, 100% a finger drum. I don't have an MPC. I have like an Akai. So I got like the keyboard MPC. I've been thinking about getting an MPC, but I just haven't really cared to get one yet. But want to definitely in the future, because it's kind of similar to one anyway. So yeah, pretty much finger drumming, or I find like a loop from a sample, or just like a loop pack or something like that if I don't feel like thinking too much. But I love finger drumming because it's just it feels more like a real drum than anything. And loops are cool because they feel a little bit more raw, because they're literally usually somebody on a drum and then somebody samples it. What would take longer, I think, with my writing style, it's kind of abstract. So it's more like, it's more like a stream of thoughts kind of thing, where it'll go from, one part of the idea to the next. I don't really care. Like I told you, I don't really care too much about hooks. I do write them. I do put them in there. Structure of the song isn't necessarily like verse, hook, verse, kind of more like a Mike situation, where it's like, you got this verse and then he'll put a hook at the end, or he'll put a hook at the beginning or in between, or something like that. It's abstract. I like that type of style of rap and writing. So I do that. So it doesn't take too long. And usually I don't really go back and rewrite things. I try not to, because I feel like it's a little bit kind of meticulous in a way. And not that being meticulous about something is wrong is pretty good. A lot of people look for that. But I feel like music, for me, especially rapping, just more like an emotional thing. So
like a raw feeling.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, what am I feeling at the moment? And we'll talk about that when we talk about some of my songs, especially I remember one of the songs you talked about as your top 5 on my list. I'll tell you more about how I feel about that. But yeah, I would say which takes longer, it kind of depends. Probably rapping though, probably writing, because it's just like, where I'll be sitting there like, there's a bar from Mos Def where he's like something along the lines of, when I rap, I get stuck in between the lines. I escape when I finish the rhyme. Yeah, that right there is exactly how I feel. Like, I'll be sitting there just looking at that line for a couple of, it could be minutes, it could be hours. And I'm like, all right, that's when it comes. And it kind of goes in my poetry too. So I do those same things. So yeah, and I have turned some of my poems into raps and vice versa. So
you're like Pac. For real.
Like Pac, for real. Yeah. Poems,
Bro, you're making me laugh during this interview. You're like the biggest like I don't give a fuck artist. I'm like, you want to be a music? You're like, nah, I don't really care. It's like, oh no, I don't really care about this. I don't really care about that. It's like, I'm just vibing.
It's strictly music, man. It's strictly music. Like, I don't care about the politics behind it. I don't care about
I'm just trying to vibe.
Bro, I just love making beats, music, all that stuff, bro. Just enjoy it. Kind of how I live with it.
Yeah. You just mentioned sampling. I know one of the songs in my top 5. I can't remember which one off the top, but I know you sampled like Shaka Khan Through the Fire, I think, in one of the songs. So I was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's Through the Fire. Cause like, I mean, obviously like I know it from Through the Wire, Kanye, but I was like, when you mentioned like sampling and like doing your own thing, like I was surprised you were able to get that, like, I don't want to say cleared, because like it's not like you call like Shaka Khan's estate and I got it cleared, but like I'm surprised you were able to get away with like a sample like that, because that's a relatively known song.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's shocking.
I just kind of did it, you know.
And he didn't care, obviously.
Yeah. I didn't care. Beautiful music deserves to exist. I feel like free music. That's why I hate the sampling laws, specifically in America. But yeah, just free music. So
let the people make music.
Right.
Let them make music.
Let them make
again, you kind of answered this already, because you said you started rapping on your stuff just because everyone else is like, oh, I can't, it's too hard, or I don't really feel the beat, or I don't, whatever. And you were like, all right, fuck it, I'll just do it myself. Right. So that didn't really come around until Goddess You, Black Empress 2. And obviously the first Goddess You, I'm gonna just say Goddess You, Godspeed You, and Water in the Sky, those are beat tapes. Was there a reason why, I'm going to change this question up, because you said you started rapping because out of necessity. So is there a reason why you waited until Godspeed You 2? Or like, is there a reason why you didn't rap on Godspeed You and Water in the Sky? Like what made you think on this album, fine, all right, I'll start rapping on this one? Like, what was the thought process there?
Okay. So when I started making beats back in, like I said, 2018 and 2019, going up until pretty much 2020, I was actually under my old name, Banjo, and I released 2 EPs under that. It was called, what do you call it? What's called? It's called Minimalist in a Perfect World was the first one. It's trash. Don't listen to it. I made it all on my phone because my laptop is broke. But the first one on that, the ending track, was a poem. It was just an a cappella poem that I did, describing what the tape was. And then the second one was called Aloy, which is named after a video game character that I like, actually. And it was kind of about a story. The project is kind of a story between how I view, funny enough, my dad in the situation. It was kind of like a beat tape to describe that. I did rap on the intro to that, but it was mainly more of a beat tape to anything. But what I like about combining beat tapes and like just a few raps, it was kind of go back to those points where I did this beat tape, which was just a Minimalist in a Perfect World one, and then I ended it off with an explanation as to what it was. Because I feel like with vocals, once you enter a realm of like vocals and rapping, you kind of got a story or a purpose now be explained in a particular way, which I feel like with your own self versus sampling, which is why I sample so much, because I like to do that. I like to be able to explain purpose through certain things, and I can do that with samplers or like, voices or whatnot, like something like what Madlib does. But for example, with rapping, it's more like I can control the flow of that voice. I can control the emotion of that. I can bring in my own, root as to what it means to me, as opposed to trying to repurpose something. But repurposing is my favorite form of art in a way. Like Plunderphonics kind of collage art is my favorite. Yeah. So I feel like with that, when I make these beat tapes, usually they start off as just beat tapes. The Godspeed You 1 project, I did want to get some people on it, and not that and at that time a few people did want to rap on it, but they didn't send it back quick enough or whatever the case. And I was like, you know what, I just released it as is.
As a beat tape, yeah,
it's just a beat tape. I like it as it is. When it came around to the Godspeed You, Black Empress 2 project, that's when I was like, all right, this is a little bit more personal to me anyways. That first track especially, a lot of things about that project was just more about me and what I was caring about, which is actually, funny enough, a love tape too, is it kind of like how that project was set up. So I like to put myself in that situation to explain what I meant in a way.
Right.
So yeah, I think just the way I decide on when I want to do it is kind of just how I'm feeling. If I feel like these just need to be a beat tape, it's gonna be a beat tape. Water in the Sky was like an art project to me. It was more like I got this nice idea of trying to explain peace, friendship, love, expression, care, and passion. And I'm gonna do it through beats. I'm not gonna use my voice on this at all. I'm just gonna try and explain that through a feeling that you can't really get throughout voices or words. You just gotta hear that shit. You know, gotta hear it and
Facts.
then feel it, experience it.
It's deep. There's a lot of deep, lot of heavy thoughts right there. Just pure music, just pure art form, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of Water in the Sky, that is my favorite 01forward project. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I bring that up to say, a lot of the time when I'm listening to your stuff, specifically Water in the Sky, actually, I get flashbacks, or not flashbacks, but I get thoughts of like Jay Dilla. Like that is who, at least when I hear your stuff, that's who I'm reminded of. Like I feel like Water in the Sky gave me similar vibes to when I first heard Donuts, for example. So I think Jay Dilla is someone that I associate you with because you guys just sound like the same kind of thing, with the beat tape and all that stuff. Donuts is a great album, and
Right.
I think that's a compliment to you. If Water in the Sky sounds like Donuts, I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
a
that's like the biggest compliment. Donuts is my favorite album of all time.
yeah. Donuts is great. Rest in peace,
Mhm.
Dilla, of course. Um, so it seems to be very Donuts inspired, but I want to ask you, who would you consider an influence on your music? I assume Dilla probably is an influence.
Yeah, so definitely easily my favorite artist of all time. My biggest influence is Dilla. When it comes, especially when it comes to the beats.
Mhm.
Dilla, I'm from Detroit, so Dilla has always had that thing, that grass that we
Of
had
course.
together in Detroit with how he makes these beats. And there was just always something interesting about how he sampled. There was never a standard to what he was doing versus what other people were doing. A lot of the
Mhm.
times people were doing weird type of loops, but he was like, all right, I'm gonna do something like Don't Cry. Well, I'm gonna chop this song in like 17 different chops and then
Mhm.
let your mind figure out the puzzle type thing. It's great. Songs like Bye, those things just inspire me to
Bye.
just
Mhm.
when I make music, I listen to Dilla pretty much the entire process. Like while I go through that. Dilla, Mike, the big one. Mike's probably my biggest modern influence. Absolutely. 100%. He's just amazing at what he does. And we're kind of similar in the sense that what we're trying to push. Um, the movement that he is a part of, him, Earl, Navy Blue, even those
Right.
artists, those all also inspire me most. That movement, that abstract hip hop, um, almost avant-garde type of feel is just
Mhm.
beautiful to me. And I love it too much for me not to say it. But it's like those musical influences, of course. But then I got artists that aren't even musical influence, like Thomas Wilmer or Ivan A or Joan Stolzenberger. And it's like those are artists. I mean, Wilmer was actually the artist who made the Water in the Sky cover art, which I did
Wow.
because I make most of my cover arts, but I did that one because I feel like that perfectly described what I was trying to
Mhm.
go with the idea in that. And also read up on how the law works on that. Apparently, if an artist is dead, a piece they made 100 years ago is public domain, so anyone can use it. And I was like, oh, interesting
There you
to
go.
put that out there. So there's billions of cover arts everybody can use. Free game right there, guys. So yeah,
Go look. Go start finding some old
go look.
artists. There
You're
you
gonna
go.
love them. You're gonna love them. Ivan A. Thomas Wilson. Go look them up. There were some great artists on that.
Mhm.
So I think musical influences for me, definitely biggest ones being Dilla, Mike, Aaliyah. Um, those are some probably like definitely my three most
Yeah.
favorite on that level. But I just think it mainly comes from an idea. Like when I see certain things, when I'm eating certain things, when I smell a certain thing, when I'm outside with a certain person or whatever it may be, just influences and inspiration just come as I go. Like I just pass by and things just happen. And I'm like, all right, here I am with this idea now. Let's expound upon it. Or like, for example, even I started recently being like a DJ kind of thing.
Mhm.
And when I do that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start making these mixes. What am I looking for exactly? It'll be like one word. I'd be like feels. It'd be like emotion, or it'd be like resonate. And I'm like, all right, let's expand upon that through the mix, and then that'll be the mix, or that'll be the song, or that'll be the entire idea. So it could be words that inspired me. It could be artists. It could be a face. It could be a child that's I see there and say it doesn't matter what it is. Really, inspirations come and go, but musical influence is definitely Dilla, Mike, Aaliyah, Madlib, Earl. Billy Woods as of recently, especially
Yeah.
PC for as well. Navy Blue is one of my favorite writers right now. Those are definitely hip hop influences. Radiohead is a really great one for me. I love how they like their art is so meticulous. And I know I was saying
Yeah.
meticulous art is little, not my thing per se, but the way they did it was meticulous and great. But at the same time, they've had that abstract album like Kid A, which is my favorite. So that's just my pull towards art. It's kind of like abstract kind of thing. So yeah, I think those would be my main influences in music.
Wow. 01forward is the most sophisticated guest we've had on the show. Everyone else is like, yeah, Kanye or like whoever, and this dude's pulling out artists from 100 years ago. He's not fucking around. He doesn't care, but he cares. When he cares about something, he cares about it. And it's the music, of course.
Kind of like you, man. I see you put your time into looking into artists.
Yeah.
And that time that you put into it shouldn't just be thrown away. So like when you came with your questions or the idea of it, I was like, I'm gonna try and make this make sense to you on how I do these things or why I do them. So yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily not. It is not caring. Like I don't care per se. I don't care to get somewhere with it, but I definitely, like you said, I definitely care about like just the art itself, kind of thing. So, yeah.
And of course, and 01forward, Banjo said he didn't mess with the idea of interviews, but here he is on our show. I feel so special. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Interviews is kind of like, depending on the person, it's kind of just it's bland to me a lot of the time.
Right.
Certain people get on there like they just talk about very similar. It's kind of predictable. You expect them to say certain things, especially when you listen to them or you hear them and you know what they are. I don't even really blame the interviewer as much as I blame just the artist or whoever they're interviewing. And I'm like,
yeah,
you really didn't even put too much time into that. You know what I mean? So I love interviews as they are, and I appreciate them so much because it really gets you closer to someone or something that you care about. Like, so they are necessary. But I was like, do I really? I wouldn't waste your time. The thing that I would say that is,
of course, right.
I wouldn't waste your time. But if I were going to do an interview, I'm gonna try, and that's that's what we are.
Put the effort in. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I definitely agree with you. I definitely feel like some hip hop kind of, or even not even hip hop, just like publications that do interviews, like it seems very cookie cutter. Like it feels like, I'm trying to think of a specific example, but like say Complex is interviewing, I'm trying to think of an inspiration. I've got a Jay-Z poster right here. They're interviewing Jay-Z and say Jay's got an album coming out and they ask him about the album and recent things. Like I feel like, at least in interviews that I watch, like I listen to a lot of my influences, like Joe Budden podcast, Drink Champs, Rap Radar, especially Drink Champs and Rap Radar. They go way back. Like if Rap Radar did have a Jay-Z interview, like they were asking him about how he shot his brother, how he stabbed Lance and Rivera, how he did all this stuff, but they're going way, way back and they're peeling back layer by layer. Whereas a big name brand kind of thing like Complex would maybe only talk about his relationship with Beyonce or Rock Nation and how they're doing the Super Bowl with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and all that stuff. But I feel like the deep cut kind of hip hop journalism and what I honestly strive for is like, I want to find out everything. Like what is recent is cool, but I want to know about the past, the present, the future. And I just try not to, I ask a lot of questions that are similar in each interview, but I definitely try to touch all the bases and I try not to like do the same thing that everybody else does. I try to make it unique to myself. And of course, I have great guests like you that go in depth and we really play off each other very well. So thank you for someone that doesn't really mess with the idea of it, especially like the whole like mainstream kind of thing. Right. I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Of course, man. It's great intention is the thing. Like you said, when you see these more cookie cutter complex interviews, their intention is to get a rise out of recent events, as opposed to, like you said, pure layer by layer and explain and expound on things that happened in the past, get them to where they were, because those are really where you pull the most gems from.
So exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Warming my heart on this Sunday morning.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Going back to I have this next question. Do you have a dream collaboration? So that could be if you could have anybody, you know what? I'm gonna make this interesting. If you could have anybody dead or alive rap on your beats or sing, or a producer that you want to rap on their beat, like, do you have any kind of dream collaboration? Like, before it's all said and done, this is what you want out of your music with somebody.
Okay. Definitely Mike. Definitely Aaliyah if she was still here.
Yeah.
I would love to get on the Madlib beat. I would like to do something with like Navy Blue. Funny enough, with Navy Blue, like I say, he's one of my favorite rap or writers right now. So that would be the pure reason why. I just want to see how he writes, because that right there is so intriguing to me. Griffin from Retry, he doesn't be in there too much, and we've had conversations about his music every once in a while. But I really want to do something with him, and that's not like coming from some random fake I know you aspect thing, because I know a bunch of artists. I don't really collab with a lot of them because I don't really appreciate what they do too much. But the ones that I do, I would definitely really want to do something with Griffin. He got a type of feel to music that I'm just like, yeah, we could definitely do something cool. I'm a vaporwave artist named Telepath. I would really like to do something with them. I don't even know how active they are in music anymore. I haven't seen too much about that, but I would like to do something with that. I mean, I guess more crazy ones would be like Echo 2K, or even like Standing on the Corner. Echo 2K, I know it's really random, but it's because his process of music is really cool to me. And Standing on the Corner is one of the most amazing avant-garde jazz bands I've ever heard. So I would like to do something with him too. I don't really think too much about collabs, to be fair. So when you you brought up the question, I was like, oh, let me let me try to think. But it mainly just really comes back to my influences, kind of what I would want to do with too, like Earl too, Alk. I would love to do something with Alk.
Yeah, Alk would be a crazy collab. I think you guys have a similar vibe.
Yeah, that would be crazy to do something like that with him. So yeah, I mean, just anybody that really inspires me would be somebody that I would want to do a collab with. I don't really get too pushy, weird about collabs, but I wouldn't collab with somebody I just don't like their music. Like, I had some friends that they're like, oh, this, let's do this or something like that, or I'll ask them and then we'll start it and then it sucks. And I'm like, nah.
Nah, just tell them straight up.
Yeah, I tell them, I'll be like, nah, we ain't using that on whatever I was doing. It's not like to hate on them or nothing like that. It's just that.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's just doesn't fit the vibe.
It just doesn't work, man.
Yeah, it's not anything personal. It's not that deep, but I'm trying to make some art,
Yeah, man. Like, that's kind of how it is. You wouldn't go up to a shoe store and look for some Jordan 6s in the color yellow and then get green. You know what I mean? Like, you came for this, you're gonna get that. No, for nothing else.
What an analogy right there.
Yeah.
Oh man. So if I going into this next one, we're here on a podcast, obviously, and you once, and I had to fact check myself because I didn't know if this was a fever dream that I made up, but apparently you did host. You were not host, but you were on a podcast as well with Matt from Retry, who's relatively big in the YouTube hip hop community scene. So how did you guys connect initially? I assume it was probably through Retry, but what made you guys decide, let's make a podcast, let's start talking about music, just chop it up as friends? But what was the process behind that?
Okay. So Matt, but definitely been up through Retry, like the whole music thing on Instagram that was going on. I mean, he was always really cool to me. We were both from Michigan. So we linked a few times here and there. So that was really cool as well. Matt's been my boy. That's my guy. So I always just support him when he comes up with ideas or something like that. I always been supporting his YouTube channel from the start, all that stuff. So when he came up with the podcast idea, it was just because we'd be on Discord a lot of the times, me and a couple of the guys from Retry. So we're on Discord and we're talking about music and everything like that. And Matt, he's a hip hop YouTuber, so he's like, all right, why not try and do something like that with you guys on Discord and then make that a podcast? And so I was like, I'm totally with the idea. The outcome wasn't as great as he assumed, mainly because he felt like it wasn't as structured, or he wished he would have just came at a different approach, which he said he wants to go back to it in the future or something like that. But just handpick the people, because it was mainly some of the individuals that were just not taking it as seriously as he wished, or not even as seriously, but just still doing really off the wall kind of random things while we were trying to record the thing. So he was like, all right, we're gonna do it this way instead. And then he's kind of went away with the idea of it to focus on something else he was doing. So that's kind of how that went. That's why I feel like a fever dream, because he kind of just stopped it because of where it was going. He was like, all right, instead we'll refocus one day later. And so I think he did that pretty well, executed that definitely greatly. He's been, like I said, he's been my guy for a little while now, a few years. I chill with him all the time. I mean, Matt's just a real solid dude. He'll tell me, like, if I'm sending him something in his trash, he'll be like, nah, man, that ain't
This
it.
ain't it.
Yeah. I send him something that's great. He'll tell me it's great. He'll tell me you should try and do this with this person. He's been trying to get me with people to do things all the time. So Matt's just always been cool to me on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Matt is he's a great dude. When I first came up with the idea for the podcast and I was like, I want to do it on YouTube, I was asking him all sorts of tips. He gave me a lot of great advice, this is what you should do. You should do this, you should do that. This is how you get your name out there. This is how you promote a little bit better. So He was definitely helping me out in that aspect. And I'm in the Discord server, but I've never actually like hopped on voice chat, or I've only even talked in the Discord a couple times, to be honest. But no, I feel like the idea is like just friends talking about music, but maybe, I mean, I can't speak obviously because I wasn't there, but maybe it was like people were not taking it. It was ideally like casual, but like not that casual kind of thing. At least that's what I'm getting from what you told me.
Yeah, it was like a casual approach to a more, I guess, kind of a structured idea. It wasn't as structured, but it was mainly like, let's talk about this. But they were going off into things like, I don't know, just
anything else,
phones or memes or something. And it's like, that's not really the point of this. So why would we be in this position? So you just felt kind of.
I see. So I was gonna ask, what happened to the pod, but I guess that kind of answers that question.
Yeah. Kind of what ended up happening with it. So yeah.
I see. So, but you said he's gonna try again with the pod idea?
Yeah, from what I know, I think he wants to refocus it one day. We've done me and him. We done like a 2-man podcast a little while ago.
Yes.
Once probably was around this time last year that we did that. But yeah, definitely it was really cool to do that with him, and he wants to do that again as well, from what I know. So
okay.
Yeah. I guess.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you now, and I'm sure I'll tell Matt, but yeah, I'll hop on the pod whenever with some little cross promotion, Rock the Mic pod, and Matt Paletta. Let's get it. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready whenever. Speaking of, we have people in retry. TimGetTheMoney, who was in our last episode. If you guys haven't watched our interview with TimGetTheMoney, I know it's a long one. It's our longest one, but there's no visual. It's just audio, so you can just play it in the background. But go check it out if you haven't already. We talked to him last episode, and you guys have collaborated a couple times, and we discussed 2 of your songs you have together, In Between Love and Fire and Motions Part 2 in that episode. So I did ask him this question, but I did want your perspective on it, because obviously there's 2 sides to each coin. You guys both worked on this, so I did want to know your thoughts. How would you say collaborating on a beat differs, from rapping alongside somebody? So what were some of the differences between In Between Love and Fire and Motions Part 2, and as far as making them?
All right. Yeah, so we made In Between Love and Fire a while ago, back probably like 2019, actually. It was a while ago. It was the first time we ever collabed. How that worked was he sent me like some melodies he did, and then we made, you want to say 3 or 4 beats out of it. And then that In Between Love and Fire one was the one that everyone liked the most. It's the one I like the most too. So that was really cool. It took me the longest to make that one too. It probably took me 2 hours to make that one. Every other beat, 12 to 30 minutes. So it was mainly, and he explained it well too. It was mainly, he sent the melody, and that little first part of the song is the melody that he sent. I took the atmospheric kind of sound of that thing. What's the word I'm looking for? The ambient kind of keys that he played, I guess, on that. And then I did like some loop, made me a drum loop over that, added a couple of samples over it, like a piano sample, and then I did like this one vocal sample. It wasn't too much, so it was mainly like just my structure kind of thing. He sent the melody, so and we call it collab. That's what it was, kind of thing. So it was just like, all right, melodies, you figure it out, and that's kind of how I mainly do my beat collabs. I don't really like making melodies or anything like that, or chopping it for someone else, because I feel like when I chop it, I have a really particular way at how I'm going to fix it. So I'm like, I don't think anybody else would really do anything with this. And it's been proven by many times that I try and do something. They're like, nah, I can't really do nothing with this. And I'm like, that's cool. Just send me something. We'll do something. And they're like, oh, this beat is great. Especially with my guy, Riley, we did some cool beats, really cool beats a while ago over those things. So, but yeah, with Tim, it started with that. He sent me the melodies. I made the In Between Love and Fire beat in about 2 hours on my laptop. All that done that day. With rapping, it was specifically the Motions 2 song. I just made a beat one day. I was like, I want to use this for this upcoming project that I got. This kind of darker guitar beat that I don't really do. And then I put a Dilla sample over it. It was a Dilla interview, actually, funny enough. I was interviewing. And then I was like, hey, Tim, you wanna hop on this beat? And I just send it to him. And then a few weeks go by, he talks to me about it. He's like, oh, I finished, some of it. If you want to get on the second half, go ahead and do it. I was like, all right. I wrote the verse in about 10 minutes. It was really cool, simple verse. I was going through something right there at that time, so I was like, I read that. And then
exactly, there you go.
It fit really well with what he did at the first part. So I was like, all right, I like it.
My emotion wastes away the day that I can say that. You hold my hand, touch my heart, and I don't play that. And at the start, you sparked my heart and made me lay back. Comfortable at last, we was doomed to crash. I can't seem to find the loop to mash. You put your best friends in a stash, and I respect it. But I lost my grip and I ain't stick, but you ain't make me mad. A part of you within myself, crazy tags.
Let's make this the song, and that's just how I went. I did he mixed in his verse and everything like that. I did mixing, master my verse. The one good thing about me and Tim is that if I'm doing something, he's gonna do his part. I don't have to worry about like mixing, mastering, everything for him. He just does it himself. Me with other people, now I've collabed with, they're like, bro, can you just mix my voice on that? And I'm like, okay. Like
I guess
I don't really mind doing it, but it's like it's cool. It gives me a little bit more time to do something else if I'm not having to put so much effort into there. But I mean, I don't mind it, because at the same time, some people might send back something and it sucks, and I'm like, all right, if I would have just mixed this, it would be a lot better. So yeah, it's cool to know that he can do that himself. We don't have to stress about it too much. So Tim has been probably the only one I've ever put on any project.
I think I just based off like my own memory, I'm pretty sure I've only seen Tim Get the Money as a feature.
Yeah, at least on the ones on streaming. I would say the Bandcamp ones, which we'll talk about, has a couple other features. But yeah, that's how that went with Tim. This melody, beat sent by me. He raps, he sings, I rap. That's it.
That's it. Simple as that. Well, perfect segue into our next question. You just mentioned Bandcamp. Right. You do have your stuff on Spotify, Apple Music, streaming, stuff like that. But for those of us that don't know, I personally do, but a lot of the listeners out here probably don't know what Bandcamp is. So if you don't mind explaining a little bit what Bandcamp is, the benefits of it, and would you say Bandcamp is more artist friendly than, say, Spotify or Apple Music, or insert streaming service here?
All right. Bandcamp is better SoundCloud, simply put. It's like a way more open field. It's quicker to put out things. It's kind of its own thing. Streaming services go through a lot of weird, I guess, processes to get authenticated and push to those streaming services. And they're very political and all that nonsense. All the things that I hate about music. That I don't like about the industry. Everything I hate about the industry is in streaming services. So I try and avoid it. I only put it on there because I don't care about what they are going to say, what anyone's going to do to it. So I just put it out there anyways. And I know it's easier because everyone's, using them. Obviously, I do too. I use Apple Music. We all do. So, we all use a streaming service in a sense. So it's not like it's not convenient. So I'm like, all right, I'll put it more convenient out there. But my personal favorite streaming platform or music distributing or publishing platform is definitely Bandcamp. Is I can put it out when I want to. I have to worry about nonsense from others. You have a closer bond with your fan base if you're on there for an extended amount of time. Um, and funny enough as well. I've said funny enough like 7 times in this interview, but it's like a good segue for me. But interestingly enough, there we go. We use that one.
There you go.
With Bandcamp, I've made the most money through Bandcamp as well. Streaming.
That's what I was going to ask you actually. So people can buy your music like directly off Bandcamp, right? And it will go straight into your pocket pretty much.
Exactly. And it's like, they take a little bit. It's like a few, like if you get a $20 sale, it's like 20 cents a dollar, something like that. So pretty much all that money goes back to you. I know back to what I said, I don't care about making money in music. I don't. And to prove that, all the money I've made from Bandcamp, I spent on pizza. I don't even care.
Wait, here's the question. Here's the important question. What pizza place do you go? Where do you get pizza from?
That is
I'm Italian, so I gotta know this.
Unfortunately, the closest one to me is Domino's. So most of that pizza was trash.
Love Domino's. I was actually thinking about getting that later, but yeah.
Domino's. I think Domino's is decent when it's there. Little Caesars is trash. Pizza is like the best fast food kind of pizza place. So I'm like, I would like to do that, but the pizza that's like close to me, I'm like, I'm not walking over there. Domino's is literally, I don't care. But
as a broke college student, I love Domino's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. When you're talking about this age right now that we're at.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Oh man. Definitely. Pizza is just the way it goes. So yeah, that's what I do with my money from Bandcamp. I spend it on pizza, or I just keep it there. I don't touch it. It's either spent on pizza or I just don't touch it. Same with streaming. I haven't collected any dollar from streaming, which I'm probably up to like somewhere not too much because streaming is literally pocket change no matter what. Yeah. I'm probably up to like $30 on streaming right now. Haven't touched that. That's still chilling, which is much more than I thought it would be because it took a lot of streams to get there. I'm like, when I look at the streams, I'm like, that's crazy that I got that many streams from nowhere. And then you see like the countries and the places that people are listening to you from. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. So, but yeah, Bandcamp is my favorite. I got the most projects on there. I got a total of 14 projects as a whole. 12 under the 01forward name, and then 2 under the Banjo name that I used to go under. But cool stuff. I guess Bandcamp is nice. I like it. I don't really see myself going anywhere else, migrating anything else. Just streaming Bandcamp, streaming for convenience, Bandcamp for a purpose is what I really like it for.
Okay. So for any new up and coming artists that might be listening to this, you would recommend they put their stuff out on Bandcamp?
That all depends on what type of artist you are, I would say. SoundCloud is probably more for like if you're trying to get somewhere through somebody. A lot more label intensive seekers or agencies look at in SoundCloud than they do for Bandcamp. Yeah. But Bandcamp is more for the soul seekers, the people that care about,
like 01forward, for example.
There you go. How I'm describing myself is kind of like what you would be looking for. If you care about a slow progress grind to people that care about your music and not care about the image that you feel or some weird ass, I don't know, like and I guess expectation that people have, like when you think about SoundCloud rappers or something like that, which all those guys, they do their thing. You can't hate on them, but it's just like, if you're that type of artist, why would you not want to be put into there? Because I feel like you feel like you're good at something, put yourself against others, and then you really see if you're good at something, or get humbled and find out you're not. So that is kind of how it is. So I think if you want to be like seen better, probably SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or for if you want to just have like a little cult following or like a fan base that you can gather, or really want to meet some really like-minded artists, Bandcamp is what I do. So I think try and do both, I guess. Why not?
Why not?
I have a SoundCloud too. I don't really post on it. I actually have like mostly meme songs in there, me rapping over Dilla beats and stuff. So, but yeah, just like, not like for fun, literally just random things that I was saying just for fun. Yeah. One of them was just a mic test type of thing. So, yeah, just try them both if you like the one or the other. I think Bandcamp.
Personal preference thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So do your thing.
Do your thing. So most recently, you've released Y2K Ivory, which that came out in August, right?
Yeah, August, by the end of August, something like that.
Okay, yeah, so that's pretty recent. How would you say you've grown as an artist? You know, whether it be your rapping or production skills, or even both. How would you say you've grown since your first project to this most recent one?
Hmm. Okay, that's a decent question. I got some took a little bit of notes on that one too to try to help me with this because I had to think about it
Perfect.
myself.
Perfect.
So I first started, like I was saying, my previous endeavors. I started doing like I was under the Banjo tag or
Mhm.
Banjo name. I did these two EPs. They were like they weren't as developed. They were definitely not developed at all in the sense
Mhm.
that they were mixed terribly. The flow was okay. The biggest pull away or the biggest draw that I have from it, the best thing that I heard, the criticism that I received, especially from my boy Matt, was my aesthetic was really nice. You know how to make an aesthetic. So I was like, all right, how can I expound on everything else? Because if I know how to do one thing, I can just need to, because if you know how to do one thing really well, and what a lot of artists do is they'll find something that they're really good at, and they just
Mhm.
keep on trying that thing. No, sharpen your other skills and get better at everything else, and then that
Yes. Be
one
more
skill becomes
well-rounded. Yeah.
right. Try and be a more well-rounded artist because sharpen your skills on those types of things that you're not so much excelling at will make that one thing that you do excel at look really nice whenever you have sharpened those other skills. So you don't even it's one of those things where you're helping yourself both ways. If you really like to focus on, let's say, flow, your flow is perfect, but your lyrics suck, right? Focus on your lyrics because once you get your lyrics like really down, your flow is
Right.
going to sound just as beautiful as it was before, and your lyrics are going
If
to
not better. Yeah.
right. Take your skills, most improvement. So when I started, like I said, the aesthetics was the thing for me that I was like, all right, I got that down. What do I need to focus on really? I'm a producer. I like to produce. All right, let's make these beats make more sense. So I attacked structure. I was like, my beats need more structure. When you hear my beats now versus what they were before, they're
Mhm.
far more structured. Structure is a very important skill set you need to learn. I was talking to Isaac even, and he was
Mhm.
telling me like when he found out about how important it was to structure a song really well, um, it just made everything better. And structure doesn't have to be a form of that you normally see. It doesn't have to be like I was saying earlier, verse, hook, verse. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that on the beat. You can do an abstract type of structure.
Right.
You just got to know kind of how you are with it, how you build it upon yourself. So structure was the thing that I attacked. With Y2K and Ivory, that is probably my best project in terms of like an all-encompassing thing, which I think I approve every single time I release, which is kind of the goal. I don't even release until I feel like I have approved
Mhm.
on that thing. But with that being said, on that level, I guess my favorite idea behind Y2K and why I mean what I mean by when you ask progress, it's like started with this very small idea of this EP, these EPs that I have, these aesthetics. All right, now I'm trying to focus on structure. Now, when I started rapping, I'm like, I need to slow down. I need to write this more. I need to do this.
Mhm.
So every little tip that I hit on those things, I was like, okay, let's bring it all together. Y2K, I brought it all together. I made a fucking double tape, and in a matter of like I want to say 3 or 5 months, something like that.
Wow.
I think since no, probably even less. I think I started in I want to say either May or February, and I was
Wow.
just like just doing that stuff, just going through. I probably made like 50 songs for that project as a whole. It was a really interesting endeavor. But I think the biggest thing, obviously, just past like literally, you listen to my stuff, and that goes for every artist. You listen to where they started to where they are today. Of course, you're going to hear improvement.
Of
I think
course.
the thing
Yeah.
that I improved on the most, like I said, structure, um, um, drums. Drums is my favorite part of music. So
Mhm.
structure, drums, um, and sampling. Sampling was really cool to me. Like how I sample now versus how I sampled then is different. It is
Mhm.
very. I used to just do loops and then never used to put too much thought into it. And now I still do loops every once in a while, but I mainly am chopping now. I just chop. And if I am looping, I try and morph it in a way, kind of like how I did on that See Through Your Eyes song, the Chocolate Khan
Yeah.
song. That one right there is a good example of how I kind of push that to entry point. Like in the entry
Gotcha.
point, and what I mean by that is like I mean, from the entry point. So from the entry point is like I said, it was just all right. I got aesthetics down, get everything else down now. So I think Y2K is just kind of an all-encompassing idea behind where I
Mhm.
started. So yeah, I think that's best. I like how I've grown. all the people that heard me from the start, they were like, "You're growing so much, it's great." Of course, it was gonna happen. It's kind of what happens when you put time into something. But I'm glad that I did it in a way that makes me happy. It doesn't make me feel like trash trying to get through why I'm doing it. So yeah.
You're giving a lot of great answers, well thought out, deep cut answers. I appreciate that a lot. Out of all the projects that you've released, my personal favorite, which is I mentioned that earlier, Water in the Sky, just reminds me a lot of donuts. So that is why I love that one so much. That's probably my favorite. Do you have one that stands out to you as your favorite? And if so, why?
Okay. Same. Water in the Sky is my favorite project that I made. And it's because when I think about music, when you see a lot of certain artists, they got like singles up, they got singles this, singles that, or a few songs, maybe an EP. You know me. I just love projects. I'm gonna put 13 plus songs. Project. I feel like music gotta be an entire piece. When I make one song, and how all my projects usually always start is just the title. I come up with the title and I'm like, all right, that's a cool title. Then I start thinking about what that title meant to me. And what about it makes me spark. So Water in the Sky, right? Like I said, I was looking at a lot of Thomas Wilmer art and pieces, and I was like, damn, this one Rocky Coast one looks really nice. I saw that cover art or that picture, and I was like, it's got to be the cover art to this Water in the Sky thing. At the time, I didn't even have the music. I was just like, Water in the Sky. That's the title. What does it mean? This picture. What am I gonna do with it? And then I was like, I think the first beat I made for it was with the Bloody Salt one. And that actually has two different versions. The first version was because our boy Eli in the Retry, he did his own podcast, the Still Striving podcast, and he wanted me to do his intro for it. I was like, sure, he wanted something like Samurai Champloo kind of Punjabi style. I was like, all right, I'll do like that plus Dilla. And I came up with this 2-minute loop called Bloody Salt. And it's like that sample that loops on that song that's kind of all it was. It was just a sample and the drums. When I went back to make it for Water in the Sky, I was like, let me make this make sense. So I started. It's very structured. That's probably one of my most structured songs. There's an intro. I have my boy Matt on it. He talks a little bit to introduce me, and then I do the forward, which I pulled from one of his videos. He didn't even know he was gonna be on the project. He just heard it. He was like, "Oh, that's cool, it's me." And then the tag comes in, and then the song just flows, and it's one of the most beautiful sounds I've ever created. Bloody Salt is amazing. Then it goes right into the Water in the Sky title track. That one is just one of my most expressive songs. I like Water in the Sky.
I love that one.
Actually, isn't it just you sit back and it's so cool? It's just chill. You have so much fun listening to it. I like the feeling behind the project, which is the main point of it was peace. The simplest part. I just wanted to make like a peaceful kind of sound to it, and it worked. I think it worked pretty well for me. And so my favorite one would definitely be Water in the Sky. I think the best one is Y2K, and I agree. I think in terms
but your favorite,
my favorite is probably gonna be Water in the Sky for a while because it's like I listen to that like it's not my own music. Like I don't even listen to it. Like sometimes I forget that I made it. Which a lot of the times when I hear music that I make, I just think about like the creation process behind the song. When I listen to Water in the Sky, I don't even get that feeling. So there's that. I mean, another one I like is the Black Journal tape, which is not on streaming or anything. It's just a physical tape that I have, which I have a few more left. But those tapes are really cool. I did that for Riley. There's actually one with me right here. I'll show you.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, Lisa Bonet on the cover. It's about Black influence. Fuck capitalism, by the way. So that's kind of what literally fuck capitalism, which is kind of what the idea behind it was. So I did that. I like that one. So my favorite, I guess, would be Water in the Sky, Y2K, Godspeed You 2. I don't really have one I dislike the most, but I guess if I have my least favorite one, it would be this one I did on Bandcamp called Son Neptune. Okay. It was really weird. It's not terrible music.
It was really weird.
Really weird. But although it was cool because the song Gods on Water in the Sky actually came from that project. It used to be called something along the lines of like God Told Me Keep Going or something like that. but I just shorted the word to guys, and it is really cool how I did it. But Sun Neptune would be my least favorite. It's kind of like a trap ambient album thing that I did. It didn't really turn out as well as I thought. Which we haven't hit and miss. I like the project for the reason why it exists, which is kind of like I kind of got over this weird situation that I was with this girl, and I was just like, let me make music about this random situation that I probably shouldn't even care about, and I did. So I was like, all right, let's do it. It didn't make any sense to me as to why I would care so much to make it, but I did. So it was that, but I don't like it that much. Just whatever. But yeah, definitely my favorite would be Water in the Sky, the Y2K one, the Godspeed You one. Yeah, those would be my favorite ones.
Yeah, I would definitely, for me, Water in the Sky. I like Godspeed You too a lot too, but the second one, yeah, I like that one. So speaking of favorites, if I had to narrow down, and you got a lot of great songs, but if I had to narrow down top 5, no order, I would say Emotions Part 2, See Through Your Eyes, which is the Shaka Khan sample,
Right.
Water in the Sky title track, 01 Baby, and Flowers. Those are probably my top 5 01 Forward songs, no order. So if you had to, top 5 01 Forward songs, they could even be unreleased, what would your top 5 be?
Oh, that's difficult now that you had it on release. I had this list now, but now you say on release.
Hey, ignore that part then. Ignore that part then.
No, it's cool. I'll answer it. Yeah, it's just crazy to answer it. But I think with the other question that you asked, I think I'll explain more on the unreleased things then. But for my top 5 that I wrote down here, I don't really. It's hard. I was like, you know what? I'll just put what I think would be. Number 1 would be 2K entry. That's the entry to or the opening to the Y2K one. That one is an anti-capitalist, amazing, fuck you to the world that I was living in once upon a time, long ago. Song. I made the beat. The chops were from this song from the 70s or 79. I chopped that song, did the finger drumming, every instrument, every sample. I even sampled some water flowing on my own. Everything was just me, and I like it for that reason. My next one would be the Banjo 2K song, which I have an omitted verse, which is my favorite verse I ever did, and I took it off the project.
Bro.
I know. I know why I did that. I know why I did it. It was like I didn't like how it ended up being mixed. And I was like, if I don't like it, I'll get rid of it. But that is my favorite verse. It was actually gonna be my last verse. I was like, Y2K was gonna be my last time rapping. I was like, for a little while at least, I was like, I'm just gonna start rapping for a little bit and just put this out. And that was gonna be my last verse, that's the outro to that project. So I was like, maybe that'd just be it. But nah, I was like, I'll continue, and then I don't really care too much. But it's probably my favorite verse I ever wrote. Third favorite song is a song. It's called "Honest Me, Follow He." It's on the Black Journal tape, which is unreleased, but it samples the same song that is on that Crystal Ball song by Mike. I heard that song and I was like, I gotta put my spin on this beat. So it's really cool. I like that one. And then Crystals on Water in the Sky.
That's a good one.
Gods on Water in the Sky was the last one. Funny you say Flowers. Flowers is like everyone's favorite.
I love Flowers.
That one is really nice. I heard that today and I was like, when I was listening or thinking about the top 5, I heard, went back and listened to it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Flowers is really nice. Tim really loves that song. Matt really loves the song. Matt said that was I'm pretty sure that's his favorite song on that project too. He just loved that song. Everybody, I think that song is really, like, that's the.
No, I love Flowers.
Nice. Flowers is really cool. So when I was thinking, I wanted to put it on top 5, but I was like, you know what? I like Guys just slightly more personally, but Flowers is so nice.
An honorable mention. It'll be number 6.
There you go.
There you
Flowers
go.
Is honorable mention. But yeah, your top 5 is cool. I think See Through Your Eyes is actually my family's favorite. Like my family, for some reason, I don't even, I don't really post too much about my music or say too much about it. And they didn't even know I made music for the longest time. And they found out some way, somehow. And they were like, why didn't you tell us? And I was like, because I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah, they care. But they heard that See Through Your Eyes song and they love it. a lot. One of the songs in the JJ5 is kind of similar to C3.
That was a good one. I actually had JJ5 as one of my top 5, and then I moved it for Flowers.
That's that one right there. If you heard, I'm not even gonna lie. That's that song where I actually did better than the original. Personally, I will say that song it has so much balance, so much flow. That JJ5 song is dope on that one. So I like that one too. But yeah, those would be my top 5. Just 2K entry, Banjo 2K, Honest Me, Follow He, Crystals, and Gods. Yeah.
There you go. Wow. Some self-love today. I did it better than the original. Let's round of applause. Good shit. All right. Last question we've got. I assume you're going to talk a little bit about that unreleased shit, but what's next for 01forward? You know, when can we expect a new single? I know you're more of an album person, so I will ask, when can we expect a project, an album, a mixtape, something?
All right. So I'm currently working on quite a few things. My main focus is this project I got called Velvet. Oh, it's so nice. It's my favorite music ever.
It sounds nice. Velvet.
It is called Velvet. It is so nice. I'm just going through, I'm sampling, and then I'm rapping over all these beats. I'm like not thinking too much about it. It's not too much like it's kind of just like I got bars this time and I'm going to use them. So I'm just gonna have fun with the beats. I'm smiling through every single second of it. I don't think I've had this much fun making music since I don't know when. Like this is Velvet has been the most interesting, cool music I ever made. I love it so much right now. So whenever I get that out, I'm probably gonna wait until I really like every song in there. I'm just gonna keep on making. I got this one song called 94, which samples that song Juicy that was on from Biggie. That song right there.
Oh, the Juicy Fruit sample?
Oh yeah, Juicy Fruit sample. That right there. And I think the way I sampled that is just so nice. Like it really flowed. And when it's the intro to that, it's really cool. It's the aesthetic of it is really nice. I posted some pictures on Instagram recently with like the kind of what they said it's going to be, which is very simple. It's just like a picture, some velvet sheets of all types of colors. It's like really, really laid back, really chill. Actually, I went home for my birthday, which is in September. On September 6th. Yeah. It's my birthday.
Bro, September 7th is mine.
Hey, yo, really?
For real,
hey, September, brothers. Yo, you already know.
Let's go.
Hey, you on 1 2?
Yeah, bro.
Oh man, look at this.
The 20 gang.
You already know, 20 gang, man. Well, happy belated birthday to you. You already know, bro.
Hey, happy belated birthday to you too, my brother.
Yeah, bro. September was the month. You ain't born in September. If you ain't born in September, you won't be remembered. But yeah.
Hey, that's a bar.
Yeah, so I went back home, and like I said, I lived in Detroit, so I went back home to see my parents and everything like that. And I linked up with Matt. And me and Matt literally went digging together, and we made beats for the Velvet tape. A lot of what the beats that were on Velvet were made when I went back home. So that's where it kind of feels very like close to me. Like, I just love that project so far, what I've been doing, because it just feels so much like me. Yeah. I showed a lot of the songs and the beats to my girl, and she was just like, "Yeah, this seemed like you more than anything that you've done before too." And she never really says that. She normally says like, "I like the concept you're doing. I like what you're putting," but she's like, "I don't really see concept. I don't really see. I just see you in this." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of the point. Like, I really like that feeling." So Velvet is my main focus. I got a project with Isaac where I'm just rapping. I got one beat on there that I made, but I'm just rapping over Isaac beats. Me and Isaac, when Isaac sent me a beat, I don't know what it is, but I rap my best on it. Him and Riley, I can't rap any better than. I don't even rap on my own beats as well as that.
Wow.
But yes, I me and Isaac got these really nice projects. I got this one song called Ancestors on it. It's probably my best rapping yet. It's the most amazing writing I ever did. It's a song about it's ancestors, but it's a song really about my parents, something that happened with them.
Okay.
So that was really cool. I have a follow-up to Water in the Sky called Symphony in Green and Gold. That's coming. Named after once again another art piece that I liked. Me and Riley have something coming eventually. I just need to keep rapping on his stuff because he sends a lot. He sends things every once in a while, and we've got some really cool songs together. So I want to continue that, and then I'll probably do another beat tape for his cassette label thing. So yeah, and then I got this really weird kind of dark experimental thing called Storms coming out that I'm probably gonna put out in however long it takes to make. It's very dark, very abrasive. It's not something I've ever really done. So when I'm starting to make it, it's very cool. It's very
Stepping out
dark
of your
though.
box a little bit.
Yeah, so definitely because a lot of my music, I like peace, I
Yes.
like chilling type stuff, but
Mhm.
everybody's not that. So there's all the times you get that feeling. So I'm like, when I'm in that dark mode, I'll go back and make that or pull those ideas out when I need some relief to those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the quickest thing that probably gonna come out. I did a project called Onyx on Bandcamp.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put that on streaming too, probably like either next week or this week.
Okay.
Just because it'll come out with a new cover. I'll probably add a few songs from the sessions. But the cool thing about the Onyx project was I sat there one day and I made all those, I think it was 5 songs, all 5 songs all in one day. It was just really, really quick. It's kind of like dark, kind of moody songs, I
Mhm.
think. But yeah, that'll be coming streaming eventually. And just gonna put it on there just because I don't really have any reason. I was just thinking about it and I was like, I like this project. And it was actually
Yeah.
Ivory was actually the follow-up to that project anyway. So yeah, I'll just put it out there just because. But yeah, Velvet, the project with Isaac that doesn't have a name. Symphony in Gold and Green, which is Follow to Water in the Sky. You put an
Mhm.
Onyx on streaming. Me and Riley got something coming out eventually, however long that takes. And then I'll probably do another beat tape for this cassette label, and then just call it
A lot of
call it a
plans.
year. Yeah, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Velvet. Look, I got the Biggie. Look at this. I got the Biggie pop right here.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
excited for that Juicy sample. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm sure that'll probably be because Juicy's probably like one of my favorite Biggie songs. So
Same. Juicy
I'll
is a
probably
classic.
gravitate real towards that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Ooh.
nice.
Very excited. Very, very excited. So I mean that's all I got for you. Do you have anything you want to add? Anything I didn't touch upon that you want to talk about? Anything? Final thoughts?
I think we covered most of the things that would be for like, especially like an initial interview or something like that. So it's really
Mhm.
that I don't want to say I have anything to add on that level. I guess just passing thoughts would be like for people that watch this, if you do what I do in preparation for something, you go back and watch or read what you need to.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to take away is just write a lot
Of notes.
Please do. Yet that's how I was able to keep up and make sense of what I was trying to say throughout the whole thing. You don't have to read verbatim. You didn't see me doing that,
Right,
but it's
right.
like just have them there if you get a little bit lost or you have some points you want to mention. Just keep the notes there for that, I guess. You great at this. Definitely keep it
I
up.
appreciate that, man.
Keep running this stuff how it is, man. You run these things, you're gonna be there wherever you see this going. You got it because I feel like you care about it too much for it not to be there. So
I appreciate that, man. That much love, man. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man.
Number 1 fan over here.
Yeah, man. I've been messing with this. Like I said, and I was telling Matt about it because he was like, I told him about the interview. He was like, "Bro, you don't even like interviews." I was like, "Yeah, but it's mine. But it's mine."
Hey, let's go.
It originally, funny enough, I was gonna get on here and kind of do some fuckery because not to disrespect you, but Velvet was a beat tape at first, right? It was all about the love of my city, my home, myself.
Right.
But some people, I don't say names because it's gonna be said on Velvet, but some people have said some very intriguing things about me and my process, my art. And I was like, I must not think I could.
Call them out. Call them out.
I won't do it here. They know who they are, and
they know who they are.
Probably won't even listen to it. So I'm gonna at them. I'll at them when the time comes. But definitely, I was like, you guys are kind of crazy if you think I won't respond. So
don't underestimate
that's where
this,
the Velvet rapping. Yeah, no. Like the penmanship is there. Believe it. It is interesting. So yeah, that's gonna.
I love the
happen,
energy.
yes.
I love the energy.
And I don't really care about rap beef as rap beef, but I don't like disrespecting my art. So I was like, you guys wanted to hear it, so
It's gotta happen. It's got to happen. I'm waiting to see Banjo's gonna be in some Pusha T, Drake, Jay-Z, Nas, some type of war coming up.
Yeah. The type of war coming up. So yeah, it'll happen.
Oh man. I'm excited. I'm excited even more so now for Velvet. Because that's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Well, Banjo, 01forward, thank you for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate you being here. It was a great time. You were a great guest. Had a lot of great insight and thoughts and feedback for the show as well, which I really appreciate. So I just want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, man. It's probably gonna be my only interview ever, or not until I'm 35 or something crazy. So.
Hey, well, I'm honored. I'm honored to be the one and done type of thing.
Yeah, man. Definitely
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man.
Of course. So everybody watching, thank you guys for watching. In the description, we'll have all 01forward's his social media, his music. So definitely go check out all his stuff down below if you haven't already. We're gonna splice some music in the video as well, so you get a little snippet of some stuff. So definitely go check out his stuff. Go follow him on all his social media. Follow us on our social media, if you haven't already. And that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys. This is the Rock My Podcast, all hip hop all the time, and we out.